I guess we can conclude that the lure of the UFO mystery sort of overpowered your interest in the opening night of the NFL season. That you're more interested in flying saucers than Saints and Packers. I will tell you that when I left the TV station tonight, the Packers were blowing them out. They'd scored 14 points in the first 5 minutes. You're not missing too much. And I think that that sort of speaks volumes. I mean, seriously. As many of you know, my own interest in the UFO topic started back in the late 1980s. I got hooked because of some strange stories I heard about weird stuff being hidden and tested out in the Nevada desert, a place that back then was known only to the cowpokes out in the middle of nowhere and some folks within military and aerospace circles, a place we now know as Area 51, and it is known all over the world. I remember thinking to myself back then, and I might have even said it out loud, even to my boss, you know what this UFO topic needs is some good investigative reporting. And I told my boss, you know, give me 6 months. I'll get to the bottom of this thing. And that was 23 years ago. I did not get to the bottom of this thing, needless to say. I have as many questions today as I did back then, and I know that there have been people smarter than me, people with better contacts than me, people who have been at this much longer than me, who also do not have any solid answers to the really big questions, at least to the ones that count. If, and I do emphasize if, UFOs represent some sort of intelligent civilization from somewhere else, an alien civilization, if you want to call it that. Who are they? Where are they from? What do they want? Why are they interested in us? Those are the central questions, and after 60 years of the modern UFO era, we are no closer to answering any of those, I don't think anyway, although in my view, we do have a heck of a lot of information that's been gathered. What I didn't know back then as I began my own inquiry is that there was this intelligence officer, Army intelligence officer named JohnAlexander, who was already hot on the trail of some of the same questions, but not as an outsider like me, rather as an insider. As you will learn tonight, Colonel Alexander, an experienced combat officer who led Green Beret teams in Vietnam, had landed what now sounds like a dream assignment. Find out what is the deal with UFOs. Is there somebody who's the keeper of the secrets? And if so, who is that someone? His UFO working group was able to open doors that have been closed to civilian researchers and journalists like myself. He talked to every 3-letter agency that you could think of. He talked to some 3-letter agencies and other agencies that you've never even heard of, maybe even not even to this day. He went to all the military outfits, each branch of the service. He was allowed to peek behind the curtain of the military-industrial complex, talk to civilian contractors, high-level scientists, traveled in and out of the black world, looking for clues, looking for answers. And the story of that search and subsequent developments forms the core of his new book, UFOs, Myths, Conspiracies, and Realities, and is the basis of what we're going to talk about tonight. John has been a friend of mine for several years now, and we first worked together when he and I were both sort of acting as consultants to a team put together, a remarkable effort put together by Las Vegas businessman Robert Bigelow. It was called NIDS, the National Institute for Discovery Science. It doesn't exist anymore, but for a time it was the premier private investigative agency of its kind in the country and the world. Along the way, Dr. Alexander has also earned a reputation as an expert on lethal weapons. He headed a program in that regard at Los Alamos National Lab. He still works as a consultant to various national security and military entities. He's written several best-selling books, including one that focused on the practice of remote viewing. John is widely regarded as one of the models for the characters in the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, if you saw that, George Clooney movie, pretty cool movie. And he seems to enjoy his status as sort of a figure of doom and foreboding within UFO circles. When John shows up at UFO conferences, and I've been there when he shows up, you can see it, the waves sort of part, you know, he's the scorn and suspicion and the evil looks that he gets. He has been described as the only known example of a real-life man in black. And I don't know if we can get him to admit this tonight, but I know that deep in his heart, he enjoys every minute.